What if the last thing you ever filmed captured your own murder, and then kept filming something that shouldn't exist? Imagine this. It's 2:11 in the morning. Your house is locked. Alarms are set. You're alone. But you grab your phone anyway, hit record, and start whispering because every instinct screams that someone or something is already inside with you. That's exactly what happened to Ethan Caldwell on October 17th, 2024. Ethan was 32, a freelance photographer who lived by himself in a quiet, two-story house on the outskirts of town. He'd always been a guy who documented everything: sunsets, street art, late-night city vibes. Lately, though, his posts had taken a strange turn. He'd started sharing vague stories about weird feelings, doors that opened when no one was near them, shadows that didn't quite match the light. Most of his followers laughed it off as clickbait or burnout after a rough breakup. Ethan laughed too in the videos. But that night, he wasn't laughing. Before we continue with this video, please subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for updates. At 2:11 a.m., the camera turns on. The screen is dark except for the faint glow of his face in selfie mode. His voice is low, shaky, barely above a breath. Okay, if anything happens to me, this is proof. I'm not crazy. There's someone in the house. He moves slowly to the downstairs, flashlight beam cutting sharp angles across walls and furniture. You can hear his breathing, fast and uneven. Every few steps he stops and listens. There, did you hear that? Footsteps, soft but unmistakable. Echoes somewhere behind him on audio. Not his. Heavier. Deliberate. He searches every room. Living room. Kitchen. Hall closet. Nothing. But the footsteps never stop. They follow, always just out of frame. Then the lights go out. A single, raw scream rips through the darkness. Cut short. Police arrived hours later. They ruled it a home invasion homicide. Ethan was found in the hallway, throat slashed, phone still recording on the floor beside him. But here's what they couldn't explain. The video didn't stop when he died. It kept rolling in silence for another 16 minutes. And in the very last seconds, something moved into frame. A shadow, tall, wrong, gliding past the lens like it knew the camera was still watching. Ethan died thinking he was alone. He was wrong. And the proof is right there in the final frame. Let's go back to that night and walk through it second by second. It started small, too small to call the police. Or so Ethan told himself. Picture this. A 32-year-old guy who makes his living taking photos of other people's perfect moments. Weddings, engagements, newborns, always behind the lens, never really in the frame. After his girlfriend left 6 months earlier, Ethan moved into that quiet house on the edge of town because rent was cheap and neighbors were far enough away that no one would hear him if he cried at 3 a.m. He didn't cry. He just started noticing things. A kitchen cabinet left open when he was sure he'd closed it. The hallway light flickering even though the bulb was new. Footsteps on the stairs at night when he lived alone. He posted about it once on his photography Instagram. Anyone else get the creeps in their own house lately? LOL, probably just stress. The comments were mostly jokes. Ghost taxes due. Sell the house, bro. He laughed in the replies. But the stories kept coming quieter each time. Private text to his sister. I swear something moved in the guest room last night. She told him to get out more. He said he would. Then came the night of October 16th into 17. He couldn't sleep. Tossed for hours. Around 1:45 a.m., he sent one last text to his buddy Marcus. Swear I heard someone on the stairs again. Not joking this time. Marcus replied within minutes. You're stressed, man. Go to bed. Lock the doors twice if it helps. Ethan stared at the message. Then he got up, checked every lock, every window. All secure. He went back to bed. At 2:11 a.m., the phone camera turns on. Selfie mode. His face pale in the screen glow. Eyes wide. Voice so low it's almost lost in his breathing. Okay, if anything happens to me, this is proof. I'm not crazy. There's someone in the house. He slips out of bed barefoot. Phone in one hand. Small tactical flashlight in the other. Down the stairs, slow, deliberate. The beam sweeps the living room. Couch. TV stand. Curtains still. Nothing. He whispers to the camera, "Listen, just listen." And there it is. A single, heavy step, somewhere behind him. Not loud, not rushed, just present. Ethan freezes. "Did you hear that?" He turns the phone slowly. The hallway behind him is empty on screen. But the audio doesn't lie. Another step. Closer. He moves faster now. Kitchen. Dining room. Pantry. Every door opened, every corner checked. "There's nothing here," he says, almost trying to convince himself. Then a nervous half-laugh. "I'm losing it. I'm actually losing it." He steps into the narrow hallway that leads to the back door. Stops. Listens. Footsteps again, matching his rhythm. Stopping when he stops. He spins. Nothing. His breathing picks up. It's following me. It's right behind me. He rounds a corner into the kitchen doorway. That's when every light in the house died at once. Pitch black. A single, raw scream rips from his throat. Sharp, terrified. Cut off like someone clamped a hand over his mouth. The phone clatters to the floor. But the recording doesn't stop. The footage turns pitch black, but the audio doesn't lie. Ethan's scream ends abruptly, like someone reached out and stole the rest of the sound. Then a wet, choking gurgle, his last ragged breaths fighting through blood. The phone hits the hardwood with a dull crack. The screen stays dark, but the microphone keeps listening. Police later enhanced every second of that audio. They isolated layers most people never think about. Under the gurgling, under Ethan's fading heartbeat, something else registers. Footsteps. Not frantic, not panicked. Slow, measured, circling the body like someone taking inventory. Ethan had already searched every inch of that house minutes earlier. No one was hiding. No one had come through a door or window. Alarms never triggered, locks intact. Yet the steps keep coming. Heavy soles on wood, no squeak from sneakers like Ethan wore. Different tread entirely. Police forensic techs ran comparisons. The cadence didn't match Ethan's weight distribution or stride. Someone or something else was there. He'd tried to call 911 right before the lights died. The call log shows he dialed, held the phone to his ear for 3 seconds, then hung up. Why? In the enhanced audio you hear why. A single low whisper, barely audible, layered under his breathing. Sure. Not Ethan's voice. Deeper, closer to the mic than it should have been possible. Imagine that moment. You're bleeding out on your own floor. Your phone is your only witness. And something tells it to be quiet. The recording continues in near silence after the gurgle stops. Just a faint drip of blood pooling somewhere off mic. Minutes crawl by. 2:15 a.m. 2:20. No sirens yet. No neighbors heard anything. Houses too far apart. Night too quiet. Then, around 2:28, a new sound. Soft fabric brushing against itself. Like clothing shifting as someone crouches. Or leans in. The phone's tiny microphone picks up a slow, deliberate inhale. Long, savoring. The way you might breathe in the scent of rain or copper. Ethan's sister later said he always hated being alone when he was scared. He'd text her dumb memes at 2 a.m. just to feel connected. That night, no texts. Just a camera rolling, capturing every second he wasn't breathing anymore. The hallway stays dark. Moonlight barely sneaks through the narrow window at the far end. Shadows stretch long across the floorboards. And the phone keeps watching. But what came next, 16 full minutes after Ethan stopped moving, would turn this from a tragic home invasion into something no one can classify. Ethan was already gone, but the camera wasn't. The hallway lies still in the moonlight. Just enough pale glow filters through the narrow window at the far end outline the edges of furniture, the baseboards, the phone itself, now lying face up on the floor like a tiny, indifferent sentinel. The timestamp ticks forward in the corner of the frame. 2:32 a.m., then 2:40, then 2:55. No movement, no sound except that slow, occasional drip somewhere off-screen, blood finding its level. Probably police body cam footage from hours later shows the scene exactly as the phone captured it. Ethan sprawled in the hallway, arms splayed, phone inches from his open hand. No signs of struggle beyond the initial attack. No overturned chairs, no broken glass. Just one clean, deep cut across the throat. The kind that happens fast when the blade knows exactly where to go. Yet the recording drags on. Minute after minute of nothing. Viewers who have seen the full unedited tape describe it the same way. The silence becomes louder than any scream. You start waiting for something, anything, to break it. A car outside, a neighbor's dog, sirens that never come. Instead, the house feels like it's holding its breath. Around 3:05 a.m., some people swear they see the first flicker. Not a glitch, not dust on the lens. A subtle shift in the shadow under the hallway table. Like the darkness, they're thickened for half a second, then relaxed. Compression artifact. Detectives said. Overactive imagination. Internet skeptics replied. But frame-by-frame enhancement pulled from forensic software shows it wasn't random. The shadow edges move against the grain of the light source. Independent motion. Ethan spent his whole career chasing the perfect capture. Golden hour light. Decisive moments. Irony stings here. His final shot wasn't posed or lit or edited. It was raw, unflinching, and it kept going long after he couldn't. His sister, when she finally watched the tape months later, said the worst part wasn't hearing him die. It was the waiting afterward, knowing he was alone, bleeding out, while the world outside kept turning like nothing had happened. Then, at 3:27 a.m., with 16 minutes and change already burned, the hallway changes. Something finally moves into frame. And it isn't human. This is the part no one can explain. At 3:27 and 42 seconds a.m., 16 minutes and 31 seconds after Ethan's final breath, the hallway's shadow detaches. It doesn't step. It glides. Tall. Too tall for the low ceiling. Elongated torso stretching upward like pulled taffy. Arms, if they are arms, hanging longer than any human proportion allows. No face visible at first, just a deeper patch of black where a head should be. It moves from the far end of the corridor toward the fallen phone, slow, almost curious. No footsteps now, no rustle of clothing, just a silent progression across the moonlit floorboards. Police analysts ran every enhancement filter they had. Thermal overlays, edge detection, contrast boosts. Nothing. No heat signature. No reflected light on skin or fabric. When the shape passes a hallway mirror mounted on the opposite wall, the reflection shows empty space. The mirror captures the moonlight, the baseboards, the phone, but not the figure sliding by inches in front of it. Ethan died from a single, precise throat wound. Forensic report. Sharp blade, likely a fixed blade knife. One clean pull from right to left. No defensive wounds on his hands or arms. No second set of footprints in the blood pool. No DNA under his nails. No foreign hairs. The killer was either a ghost in surgical gloves or never left a trace because they weren't flesh at all. The shadow pauses, maybe 2 feet from the lens. The head, or what passes for one, tilts slowly, 30 degrees, then 40. Like it just noticed a tiny red recording light, still blinking on Ethan's phone, like it recognized being watched. Viewers who pause at exactly 3 hours, 27 minutes, and 42 seconds claim to see eyes. Not glowing, not cartoonish, just too faint, irregular voids where reflection should catch light, but doesn't, holes in the dark. Watching back. Ethan's sister released a final clip publicly after the case went cold. She hoped someone would recognize the silhouette, identify a killer. Instead, she got thousands of messages saying the same thing. I watched it once. Last night, I heard footsteps in my hallway too. The shadow lingers another 4 seconds. Then it simply continues past the frame. Gone. As if it had only stopped to acknowledge the camera. The video ends at 3 hours, 27 minutes, and 58 seconds. Black screen. Silence. The police close the file as unsolved homicide. No suspects. No leads. But that shadow in the final frame. It's still walking somewhere. And some people say if you watch long enough, it starts walking toward you. Ethan started recording to prove he wasn't crazy. Instead, he proved something far worse was real. The shadow wasn't the killer. Forensic timeline is brutal but clear. Ethan's throat was cut between 2:11 and 2:13 a.m. The shadow didn't appear until 3:27, over an hour later. Whatever took his life left the house long before that thing arrived. It came after, like it was drawn by the violence, or the blood, or the open camera lens still blinking in the dark. His sister, Lena, fought to get the footage released. She sat through hours of interviews, begging detectives to keep looking. He always said if anything happened, the camera would tell the truth. They told her the shadow was a trick of light, a lens flare, grief playing tricks. She didn't buy it. She uploaded the final 20 seconds to a private link, then to true crime forums, then everywhere. She wanted answers. She got echoes instead. Thousands watched. Comments flooded in. I paused at 3 hours, 27 minutes, and 42 seconds and swear those eyes looked right at me. Played it last night. Heard walk in my apartment at 3:30. My hallway light just flickered. Coincidence. Lena stopped reading them after a while. She said the worst messages weren't the scared ones. They were the calm ones. People writing, "It's okay. It only watches if you let it." In our world of constant phones, Ring cameras, stories, we record everything, hoping it keeps us safe, keeps us seen. Ethan's tape flips that on its head. The scariest thing isn't dying on camera. It's what keeps filming after you're gone. What shows up when no one else does. What tilts its head and notices you noticing. So here's the question that keeps me up. If you were alone at 2:11 a.m. and heard footsteps that didn't belong to you, would you hit record? Or would you just turn off the lights and hope it passes? I don't know the answer, but I know this. Check your hallway tonight, just in case. Like this video, if it got under your skin. Subscribe if you want more stories where the evidence doesn't add up. Turn on notifications, because the next one might hit closer to home than you think. And if you ever feel watched, maybe don't look behind you. Maybe just keep the camera rolling.